on here. I saw him one day doing it. He could have women, interesting topics, what have you. So I appreciate your grown man talk.
North Carolina, a city of energy and charm, and now a second chance at love. And now we're back for season 2. More dates, more choices, and let's be honest, more drama.
So here's how it works. Our main contestant is on a search to find love. They will meet 3 hopeful daters, but at the end they'll have to eliminate 2.
So here's the twist. Our dater could either choose to match with our main contestant or eliminate them.
That's right. It's all about bold choices and finding the one or realizing they're not the one.
So who will find love and who will leave?
I can't hear you, Mingo.
Y'all couldn't hear nothing I was saying just now?
No.
You see?
Nah, bro.
We was having issues earlier, and listen, I just got off of work. I'm mad tired, y'all. Pardon me. No excuses, but excuses. So what up? We are in the building. We are live. We have the panel with us. As you can see, we got some new people in the building. So shout out to y'all. What up? So I'm gonna go crazy, but I want everyone that's new to introduce themselves. We have our normal people on the panel, but first I'm gonna start with the lovely young lady next to me. Give me your name one more time. So say it so the crowd can get it right.
Of course, it's Jasaida.
Jasaida.
I go by Jazz.
So we're gonna say Jazz so we don't mess it up.
That's
so
fine.
Jazz, could you do me a favor? I would like for you to get the audience acquainted with you, let them know who you are, what you're about, and if you have any businesses that you want to shout out, feel free to do what you need to do.
Of course, I appreciate it. Well, I just want to thank y'all for having me on this. This is my first time serving on a panel like this, and being able to have these type of conversations is important. I'm based in Charlotte, originally from Delaware. I work in live entertainment and production, more so concerts and festivals. I've been growing with my relationship with God, and it's been shifting how I choose to show up in the world. It's been very important to me to make it a priority to think of His will outside of mine. And I feel like before I was more so doing it based on what I thought or what I wanted. So a company that I've been working on, I've been grateful to be a servant of, is Ungoated. Shout out to Naya, based here in Charlotte. God put it on her heart to start an experience, entertainment, and lifestyle brand, really, that focuses on putting God first, being ungoated, right? We all think we have to be the goat, and understanding that you're actually a sheep, you're His sheep, and He's our good shepherd. And as long as you submit to Jesus, you're able to be great and have way more blessings and just experience the fullness of life that we're really looking for.
I love that. Shout out to that. Shout out to the business. And I pray, matter of fact, I know that y'all will go far. So shout out to you.
Thank you.
So Matthew, we have Matthew in the building. What up, my brother?
What's going on? Thank you. The allergies is kicking my butt right now, so sorry if I sound a little bit raspy.
Nah, man, it was happening all. You in North Carolina, right? If I'm correct.
Charlotte,
So
born
it's
and
happening.
raised. That's right.
It's happening to all of us right now. So do me a favor, same thing, my guy. I would love for you to give a shout out about yourself, who you are, and any businesses or anything you'd like to shout out. Feel free to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thank you for having me on the show. Man of God, first and foremost. Apart from Jesus, I am nothing. So just grateful to be here. So I'm fully investment licensed, mortgage licensed, life insurance licensed. So I build wealth for people, a lot of people. And so that's the business that I'm building right now. We just broke into the Hispanic marketplace too. So really, really excited. Really just to hold the door open for more families of color especially, to get introduced to professional wealth management. And then on the flip side, for people who would like an opportunity to grow their career, we're always looking for great people to help expand what we do. So I appreciate you having me on.
No, I appreciate you for being here. Shout out to that as well. I love it. I love it. And as y'all can see, Kit has a shoddy Wi-Fi. It is going in and out, in and out. So we are working on that right now, Kit. You need to upgrade your services to Spectrum and maybe ask them if they could give you a gig because something's going on down there. All right. So hold up. I can't even pull her up, yo. I can't even pull her up. Yo, it's crazy. Professor, what up, my guy?
Can't hear you, bro.
Oh, you on mute? You like me? All right, hold up.
No, I got it.
There you go.
What up, dope peace and pan fried chicken, everybody in the audience as well as the panel. I feel like God sent me to this panel for such a time as this. I feel like we're having Bible study. Hey, Matthew, just real quick, you are serving the Hispanic community?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that sounds.
I'm learning Spanish
like,
too. So
that sound like a fleeting expenditure right there, because all my people are getting sent back across the border. I ain't got no cleaning lady. Ain't got nobody to cut my grass.
Oh my God,
it's bad out here, man. I got to do all this stuff myself. So if you can find them, let me know. I need a couple people.
I got you.
This is what I come back to.
Oh, you already know
I
how
miss
I get
you,
down, baby.
I miss you, Candace. I miss you. We love you. We love you. Yo, Blockchain, my guy. What up, man?
Hey, tell me something good, G. I can't complain.
What up? So, what you got going on? Yeah, well, we know what Blockchain got going on. He got his new channel going on. He's working on, and when would you have some reaction videos for us, man? Let the audience know what they got to look out for.
Somebody paid me not to put the first one I did out, so
wow.
I'm working on 2 through 10 now, but the first one that I talked about, I was paid not to put out. So yeah, it's kind of heavy over here. I'm not trying to make friends.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's gonna take
a
second. Yeah, I mean, but you know, getting caught up is not necessarily good for brands, and I'm the king of catching people up. So you know, make it work.
I know. But you know I got you, and whatever I got to do on this side, man, you let me know. Candace, what up?
They send the money orders from the basement Blockchain?
No, I got a Zelle. But Mingo, in my intro, you know what I'm saying, I got you. It's like one of the first prominent people in the intro I did. I'm shouting out like everyone who showed me or taught me or gave me something as far as game goes. So you're the first one up. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Definitely. You held this channel down for a long time at this point, and the least I could do is be there for you however I can. So, it's nothing to me, man. Thank you, my brother, for real. And Candace, we miss you so much. It's been like 3 weeks we ain't see you. Yeah. What's going on? You all right? I love you. What up? You back? Talk to us.
I'm good. Just been taking a break since I released my book on Amazon. I'm getting some things in order, making some business plans, making sure my businesses are structured correctly so nobody can get my stuff. But I'm good, and I'm happy to be back.
Can you send me that link so that way I could promote it as well?
I will.
Also, please send me that as soon as you can. Also, I got one of my guys who just came out with a T-shirt as well. I'm going to also start promoting his T-shirts, and we out here promoting businesses, man, because I want people to flourish. I want people to be successful. if I have a platform, let's utilize it to actually grow as a community. So shout out to that. Shout out to the panel. I'm ready to have a great conversation today. What up to everybody that's in the chat? Shout out to y'all that's here early. All my mods that's in the building. What up, what up, what up? I see you. Also, special shout out to our girl, Queen Lala. What up, what up? Hope all is well with you and your family. So, and Skinny, what up? Skinny is in the building, and D, and on there next, and the gang is starting to roll in. I love it. All right, look, I have a good topic for y'all today, right? And all of y'all seen the thumbnail, right? It's when will you be picked? Y'all all know I'm a big marriage guy. I'm big on trying to get us together. You know what I'm saying? Hence the show Meet to Marry, right? So, with that being said, I know y'all probably seen some of this from my dear future wifey podcast, where he actually interviewed Kendra G. And here goes Kit Struggle Wi-Fi again. There she goes. What's up, Kit?
Leave my baby alone.
Hey, YouTube friendly today. I love you. Put your finger down.
That was a
all right. So before I move on, because I didn't give you an opportunity because your Wi-Fi is trash, I didn't give you an opportunity to talk about what you got going on. So I know you have some stuff going on. You want to talk about it real quick?
Sure. Can you guys hear me? Am I clear? Like,
we can hear you. We definitely can't see you though. You look like blur. Like,
do I really?
That's enough. That's enough. We get it.
Yeah, why are you doing her like that?
I'm just saying.
Like,
am I lying?
I don't. It's crazy because y'all look super clear on my end and I can see me clear. I don't know what's going on.
We look super clear on our end too.
I miss you too, GMT. That's all it is. Clearly, you haven't had enough of me in your life and you just miss me. And I get it because I would miss me too. So let's see. I actually do have a couple of things going on. Working with a couple of marketing groups to get a couple of projects out. So I'll be able to tell you all more in like the next couple of weeks. My birthday actually falls on the 50th episode of this thing. So, shout out to me. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for my horns. The ones that I actually like, not the little generic ones GMT be throwing out there. And actually, the apparel line for the cannabis brand is actually getting ready to drop. I've been dropping a lot of mock-ups and things. It's a lot of cute things for ladies. It's some really, interesting things for dudes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely make sure you check that out. I actually put the link in under my pictures. So if you guys grab that, you can actually be on the nose. So when the drop happens, you'll actually see all the other stuff that's happening too. So lots of stuff going on, but it's all good.
Ready for it.
I love it.
Doing my thing.
All right. Well, shout out to you. Shout out to the business. Make sure y'all tap in to everything Kit got going on. She is part of the family, so let's go. So, what's up, y'all? Let's get into the conversation. I am tripping today, so y'all got to bear with me. I've been struggling. Jazz knows my struggles I've been dealing with since I started today. But let's get into it. If I could figure this out, I got y'all, I promise.
You got it.
All right.
You got it.
I got it. All right, y'all can see this. Let's play this portion.
Your value based upon your income.
Right.
And so what are you finding in yourself in these dating? Let me ask you this. Do you desire marriage?
If I died tomorrow and I wasn't a wife, it wouldn't bother me.
No, because you'd be dead.
Yeah.
So when people say stuff,
but let me tell you why. Because
bother you dead.
no, because there's some people that are like, if I don't get married, it's the biggest
none of
regret.
that matters once you die.
No, but you got to hear me out, because I felt like becoming who I was born to be. So let me talk about people always say engagements don't count. And my engagement changed my life, and it helped me understand me, because I feel like most women we're sold the Cinderella story of marriage, right? So when I was young, I was sold the Cinderella story, like, oh, you meet somebody, Prince Charming. So I did what we recommend girls do. I went to college, I went to Hampton University, got into a relationship. After college, we got engaged. And I remember it's so funny. My mother, everybody was happy. My daddy said to me, he was like, you are not ready to be anybody's wife. My dad knew. He said, you are so ambitious that you're going to have to give up everything of who you really are to be this man's wife. And I remember being so mad at my dad because I was like, I would think you would be happy, right? But he knew me. So one thing I loved about my engagement is that me and my ex-fiance, we took it serious. And we were like, if we get married, it's me and you until Jesus.
Yep.
Like, no matter what, if we do this, we end this. And having that pact in the beginning caused us both to really take this as a serious thing. What we learned was we had a real love for each other, but we had different life plans. And somebody was going to have to give up their life plan in order for the family to work. Now, at this time, I'm young. I'm in my 20s. I'm starting off in radio. I'm a graduate from Hampton University, but my first radio job, I made $7 an hour. And I'll never forget.
So let's not get into the details of that. I wanted to get into the quick discussion of one part that she actually spoke about was her being in her 20s in college, and that if she did get married at that age, that one of them would have had to give up a lifestyle. So what I would like to get into is the importance to me, and I don't know about to everyone else, of marriage and finding it when you're young. When is it appropriate for us to actually start to focus on marriage and relationships? Or should it just be one of those things that's up in the air whenever you choose? I would like our new panelists to start the conversation. So Jazz, I'm looking at you. What up? What up?
Oh, the hot seat. Okay. I would say, just from your initial question, I took the waiting route and I've seen the effects of that, right? I didn't take it serious. I didn't look for marriage in a way of like, oh, I want to be intentional of having a husband. And going with the flow can have you flow into who knows. So I believe it's important that, there's no age requirement, but the sooner the better in knowing who you are, knowing what you want. And for me, especially knowing I want God in my life into what he made marriage to be, knowing ahead of time that, yes, the goal is to be a wife and have a husband. So that while dating again, while meeting a man, I have this intention of the long-term goal. I would make better choices in the moment. I also can relate to something that she mentioned in that video, which is, the Cinderella effect. I call it the Disney effect. I feel like we all need to sue Disney on what they did to us because I grew up watching that and I think it messed up my expectation a bit, right? Of this Prince Charming, of this whirlwind romance. And it's nothing wrong with wanting love and romanticizing your life, but I think it set an unrealistic expectation of I'm a damsel in distress, or I'm a princess, if you will. And there's going to be a prince that's just going to show up and just fix everything, right? Just save me. It's going to be great. And it's not realistic. There's still work that I had to do. And, I have to be that princess, if you will, or that wife, or whatever it is that I'm looking to receive from someone. Am I even making sure that I meet that?
Okay. All right. I actually, I always talk about that Disney effect as well. So I'm with you with that one. Matthew, you are in the hot seat, my God. What up? What up? What up? Talk to us.
What up? So, yeah, I think it's important to, at the very least, whenever you first start dating in relationships, like 16 to 18, for sure, whenever you first get started. I think as parents, parents need to be teaching how to really date with intention, so that whenever they get to college, because what's interesting is that in college, I believe personally that you have, I think that that's the last chance that you're going to be in a large pool of diverse people for you to actually go and see what you like, go and see what works, because after that, it's kind of like you're either at work, you're meeting people around work, or it's dating apps, or it's networking groups, right?
Right.
I think that too, we haven't been taught how to work during that hard season of relationships. So a lot of people expect total comfort in relationships. And so I think that presents its own challenges. But I think it's interesting whenever you look at the dynamics between our community and our white counterparts. And I have an interesting kind of illustration. So I went to Appalachian State, predominantly white institution, and I went to a private school all my life. So I grew up around a lot of white people. And what's interesting is that freshman, sophomore year, everybody had their fun, right? And then junior and senior year, whenever whoever was in relationships, whenever graduation happened, like 80% of my black peers, they broke up because they got jobs in other areas or whatever have you, and they broke up. Whereas a lot of my white counterparts, they stayed together. They got married. A lot of them started having children at like 25, 26. A lot of them now are on their first or second home. 2 kids, kind of near my age right now, 30. And it's really interesting because I think that if I take a look at their households, a lot of, I think it was modeled a little bit differently in their household as opposed to in our community. But I would even say now the biggest thing is that whenever we go to college, we're really taught to go to college to get a job, not really go to college to go find a husband or go find a wife. And I think if you're intentional about that, I think your approach would be different. So I hope that illustrated my thoughts, and I hope that I was clear.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I'm with you with that as well. Anyone else? Feel free. Floor is yours.
So objectively speaking, everybody comes from different backgrounds. So I would say, in short, I would think when someone is emotionally aware, things are different for everyone. If you were sheltered and not taught certain things when you were a child, there's certain things that you shouldn't get into. People that may have gone to college right after high school, there's certain things that you are not exposed to at that moment that has not prepared you for marriage. So even though you can start preparing yourself to be positioned to handle marriage, if you are going to be effective in marriage and you want to have the least amount of issues as possible, I do not think immediately after 17 or 18 or whatever is a time to be getting married, unless you grew up in a family that was well educated, emotionally aware, and that prepared you for that. And I'm going to also throw in the whole religious aspect or the faith aspect. That's also another issue. If you were in a family that was built on a family of faith that taught certain principles that were biblical, and you were, and not religious, but actual biblical principles of faith that helped you in life, then I think that is when you're ready. So if you're 18 and your family grew you into that, then okay, it's okay. But if you graduated high school, your parents wanted to keep you a child, or let you be a child and let you experience certain things when you get in college, you're still figuring yourself out. So you can't be whole going into something else with someone else if you don't completely know yourself. So I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's effective to have something effective, because you're going to enter into something having issues that you don't necessarily need to have. There's people that get into things out of because of happenstance, not because of an actual thought out choice. Then you have to learn. Like when people have to grow up fast, same thing. So I think that the opportune time is not necessarily any age, but it's when you are emotionally aware about yourself and you have your things together, so you don't bring trouble into somebody else's life or someone else to take care of you. When you're completely an adult, I think that is the best time. But that thing doesn't happen all the time. So that's
So
me.
to follow what you're saying, right? Are you saying that there shouldn't be an age, from what I heard you say? So it could be 30, 40. Um, but what happens to a lot of people that get depressed because they waited till 40, and that's not an opportune time, let's say, to start a family?
I'm gonna also say, if you're depressed when you're 40, then it's a different issue.
It's something else.
Yeah, it's a different issue. It's a completely different issue. You're depressed because you're not married at 40. It's a different issue. You're lonely inside. There's something that you're missing, and marriage is not going to fix that anyway. So that's a
I
different
think
issue.
it goes back to what you were saying of that self-work. Like the age doesn't necessarily tell when you're ready, but if you don't know yourself and you didn't spend that time of knowing who you are and being happy with that, something that I realized too that can be a setback is marriage as idolatry. You know, marriage or seeing another person being your finished product, that you don't do the work to complete yourself. Like, of course, you should want marriage. You should want to love and have that person. But if you put that above all else and it's like, oh, I'm 40 and because I don't have this person, my life is, that's a deeper issue. You're still created. You're still here and you're still living. You still have value as yourself. And you should be okay with being alone or however it is that you're living right now, not thinking that something else is going to fix it. You get what I'm saying? Like marriage is not going to fix you. That job, a house, all, because we'll put things and ideas of that's where my happiness is, right? Oh, well, if I'm not married by this age, that's it. It's over. That's a mental game that you're going to have to fix first. And that's probably what's blocking you from even being able for your person to see you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to take it from a different aspect, right? Because we've been on this panel, at least some of us have been on this panel for quite the time. And, you know, most men don't really care about how well accomplished, achieved, or set you are, because this is why they call it's a groom, right? So, because they want to be able to groom you into the person that they want you to be anyway. So does any of this even really matter, especially when we're talking about age? And our beloved Chill isn't on here to tell us that we are all a part of the bargain basement brand, you know, at the bottom of the barrel. So since I'm just curious, because if we're talking about, like, I feel like in a way we're kind of going back and forth, because on one conversation we'll talk and they'll be like, no, you don't listen to the old women. Y'all need to be getting these men when y'all are young and in your 20s and can pop out all these babies. And they don't really care if you have much of anything, because they want to mold you like the Play-Doh that you are, and then, you know, turn you into a clay mold and throw you in the oven and cast it, right? Because they don't want you to be remolded. They want to take the clay and they want to make the ashtray that they used to do. You know how you make your ashtray when you're in kindergarten and stuff? They teach you to
throw their ash on you.
And then they throw it in the oven and they can bake it. And then now you're a fully made product of what they wanted anyway. So now you're a product of their desires. I don't understand where, and I get what you're saying, Candace, as far as, like, you know, it's about age and maturity and things, or just even being mature and knowledgeable of yourself. A lot of that takes time to learn. And a lot of that, if you need that time to learn self, right? But if the self that they want of you is in your 20s, like we have a disconnect somewhere. So somebody tell me, do y'all really give a hot who about how we, you know, show up in that way? Or is it that, no, we want you to be this person, even if you're in your 30s, and now we still have to figure out if your eggs work? Because, you know, that's always y'all worries. Like, we're too old to do things. Like, so
I see Professor going back and forth, about to start moving. I see blockchain straight, blockchain face just straight.
You know, look, first things first.
Blockchain face
first.
straight.
We have to think about blockchain for 2 seconds, right? He came on this panel wearing that hat, so we already have to worry about his questionable life choices.
Here we go.
Okay? Like, you could have chosen any team on the world for this sport, and you chose them. That already tells me that questionable life choices have been made. So again, I'm okay with it. I take my things how they come. I'm just curious. Do you want us young and dumb so that y'all can mold us? Or do y'all want us to be, you know, somewhat older and have a good sense on our heads so that, you know, part of the molding is already taking place? It's all good. Y'all just let me know. I just be here. You know, I just be here.
Yo, Professor, what up, man?
I'm gonna go last. So
yeah,
go ahead.
I just heard a whole bunch of nonsense from everybody that has gone so far.
Before I don't record with you,
I respectfully
we already know what Trumpy Bear about to say. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. We already know what Trumpy Bear.
Blockchain, I think you're on mute, Blockchain.
So we're talking about there should not be an age requirement. That's false. There is an age requirement. As women, I don't care about the outliers. As women, you have a certain time period. Your womb is like aged milk. It's gonna spoil at some point. So if you want to get married and have kids, there needs to be an age range on it. Secondly,
Is he lying?
I'll get tired of. Hey, I'll get tired of hearing about I was young and dumb. You're 24, 25. If you was able to go to school and hold down a job, you're not young and dumb. The decisions you made are the decisions you have to live with. I don't want to hear that. Thirdly, I'm getting tired of hearing about the Disneyfication of what's going on. Listen, I saw a white woman live with 7 dwarfs, and I saw a broom dance. That's fantasy. If you can't decipher fantasy from real life, then we need to have another conversation. Fourthly, Kendra G's father told her 100% wrong. She should not have tried to do that career. She should have built with that man. She was talking about having a career at $7 an hour. Come on now. The man would have provided a different lifestyle for her, and she still could have had what she wanted. I said this and I say this again. Our women go to school to prove they don't need a man, and other women go to school to prove to go find a man. So I get tired of hearing women go to school, get these degrees, whatever their degrees are, and then come out with no man. You need to get married early because we need to couple early. I talked about this on another episode of my own show. The median household income in North Carolina, Charlotte, is $78,000. To live comfortably in North Carolina is $92,612. The only way you do it is by coupling. A lot of people aren't coming out. Black men are making 58, black women are making 51. So the only way we're able to live comfortably in the city of Charlotte and other surrounding areas is to couple with each other. Lastly, I know Matt said something. You said, we need to look at our parents. But how can parents teach you intention when they're out here having unintentional children? So that's the issue I have. I can't teach you intention when all my kids were unintentional, when all my kids have 2 or 3 different baby daddies. So at the end of the day, we need to get back to, hey, we're getting married younger, whether you get divorced or not, because you guys, a lot of you guys were talking out of a lot of people here were talking out of being scared and waiting for this and waiting for that. I've talked about people waiting for God to send them a man, or people blocking their blessings, or I need to find my husband. At the end of the day, you need to be a wife before the man finds you. Period, point blank. So if you're not already a wife, you need to figure that out. And God sent a lot of things, including His Son. So He sent you a man. You got to know how to recognize it. And I'll land my plane.
And thank you, Professor. And I'll take it one step further. That's why the reason I expressed what I saw at Appalachian State. Because everyone who wanted families that was white counterparts, they went to school, they found a wife or a husband. By 25, they were married on their first child. We were still doing hot girl summer. That's what it is. I mean, I saw it.
They're also taught that way, right? Like you go a lot of think about the degrees of a lot of our Caucasian sister counterparts, right? They're not really, they're like, oh, I went to school for this, so I went to school for that, because they weren't really trying to go for something where it was like grandiose on their career path or education. They were going to scout with who's in finance. They was husband hunting. They had 4 years to do it. They was out here on the prowl. Whereas we were taught, you don't go to you go to school and you get educated. You find you get into the best programs. You get attached to the best ideas and people. You look at the things that you can help to enact and make change. Like, we weren't taught to go and find a spouse. We were taught to go and be the brightest and the best that we could be, so that when we do hit our career path, we've already got these accolades and things behind us. So I mean, what Matthew was saying, and this is coming. Look, Matthew, I too was educated at the Caucasoids of educational processes. So I do understand. Don't let my Nefertiti braids and I have absolutely been educated there. Yeah. And that is literally how it goes. Like, we were taught a different narrative. The narrative that they were taught were like, you got 4 years to go find you somebody that's going to take care of you for the rest of the 50. Where we was like, we were taught you can't rely on independence. We were taught you can't rely on one of them to potentially take care of you for the 50s. So make sure that no matter what, you can do it yourself. We were taught different narratives, and different outcomes came from those narratives. My 94-year-old grandmother just told me, like maybe a week and a half ago, like, you know, you come from strong women, right? Like you ain't grow up to be no wussy. So we ain't wussified around here. My 94-year-old grandmother. Okay. So again, what?
Yeah.
Your
Agreed.
Wi-Fi.
And the
That's
professor,
a comment you chose to highlight.
yeah, well,
Yo, the more she talked, the more blurry she got. It's not my fault. Like,
yo,
I was looking at it. Yo, it's so wild because I was looking at it from my Facebook, and I look clear on Facebook. Like, I don't know what people are seeing. This wild shit.
Yeah, you definitely made a great point. And then, Professor, I'll touch on a point that because I look at a lot of people's finances, and what's interesting is that, you know, I think that you are supposed to build young, and even if the goal is for the husband to become the sole provider, it's okay to start with our money. But I think you know, we're so separated, and what ends up happening is that you're right. The best way to build wealth is together. There's no way this world was not built for single people at all. And I think the other thing that people don't take into account is that we're assuming we're always going to be employed, we're always going to have great health. But what happens when one of those things goes away? You know, and you need a spouse to help you get down the stairs, or to clean your butt, right, or whatever. And we don't think about those things.
I thought he was gonna say clean your attic.
Look, I was trying not to use profane words on live, so I caught myself like mid-word. But Professor, all great points, and Kit, great points as well.
Somebody was in the comments.
So
recognizes good pointedry. I just want to.
So what I've taken from this is that it's our parents' fault that we go to college to prove that we don't need men. It's white people's parents' fault to prove, because they go to college to prove they need to go find a husband. And then it's nobody's fault that what happens to us in the end of the advice we get. Once you're an adult, you're saying your life is the amalgamation of your choices. And what I hate hearing is this: we have this conversation like this about, like, well, what our parents don't realize telling our kids this is, you're encouraging that 3-step cycle that women go through. They go through the whole phase at 18 to 27, the midlife crisis 27 to 30, and then the church girl arc after they're 30. So even in that phase, that's not attractive to men. That's like one of the things you need to understand about marriage is that men, unfortunately, we can control that. So if you want to be selective as a wife, you have to do what it takes to become one prior to, not after you're a girlfriend, not after other stuff. But when women go through these phases, like, I think it's funny how people get older and want to go to church, because nobody chooses God when they're having a good life, when they're in their prime, when they're out here having their hot girl summers. They wait until they're all used up, damaged, tired of men, and then they decide to either become a nurse, a realtor, gay, or a church girl. And it's super unfortunate.
How realtors catch you straight?
That's what they're all doing. And if she has rhythm, she becomes a stripper for a little while. But either way, though, like, the cold part is women are okay giving God the leftovers. What do we meant that we're supposed to get? So now the guys that y'all really want to go find these women who are just good women, the younger ones, which, mind you, necessarily I don't think that way, but the majority of the men that women want the younger, better options that don't have the mileage, the damage, or the miles of dick they've already been through. So now it's unfortunate that that's the commonality, that's the common path that so many women take. They wait until they're older, life's been so hard, and damn, now I want to turn to God because I don't care about morality or God or faith. They do it because they want a new start. They want a new beginning, and they think God is going to give that to them. So I feel bad for Jesus because it seems like he gets the leftovers of the worst of us.
That was heavy. I got one thing to say.
You feel bad
for
Jesus because it's the worst of them, but
this is my life.
Hold up, let Jazz get it. What's up, Jazz?
Well, I really just had a question because, again, I'm new here, so I don't know, especially Professor and blockchain. Are you either of you married? Two, you have strong ideations or views of a woman's point. But I also want to hear, since you are a man, how are you being chosen if you're not married, especially, or if you are married, what made you choose? Because it seems that you're speaking a lot about the woman's perspective, which is great. As a strong man, give it. But like, you talk about a whole phase. Like, did you yourself experience a whole phase? Like, as a man, can you share your experience and what your path is, what your life cycle is, what are the phases? And if you're not married, why haven't you been?
Professor, I got you.
Oh, shit.
So this is easy. So you said personal experience. Why am I speaking on it? Because I'm a guy that checks off 90% of the boxes that every woman looks for. When you grade us on paper, I check those boxes. So then there's that.
Well,
And
I
then
do
there's
want to
also,
clarify. I didn't ask why. It was more so I want to hear your perspective
You
and
asked
if
how
you
we're
are single.
one of your questions was how are we choosing and why are we choosing that way? This is why. Because I choose the way that I can because I check most of the boxes. I know that if I get with a woman, her parents will be glad that I chose her. I understand that. I understand that her father will be okay. You know what? That guy is okay taking care of my daughter. So knowing that to be the case, no, I'm not married. I've been married before. But the cool part for me is I've had 6 first dates. I've been in 4 long-term relationships. One of them doesn't count because her husband and kids showed up. I know nothing about them, right? But the other 4, I was married, either married to or dated for 5 to 6, 7, whatever plus years. So the thing is, for a man in my position, not to get married, not being married is easy. I can get married today, or excuse me, Monday when the court opens, to someone that I actually desire and checks my boxes. The problem with women is y'all think that y'all can get married the same way we can because you confuse guys' sexual attention to like their long-term, like willing to commit to you. And the majority of those men who are committing to y'all, all they're saying is this: hey, I really want to be sleeping with other women, but I'm going to forego that opportunity if I can get to sleep with you regularly. That's all they're doing when they commit to you. And then so the equivalency isn't there. For guys like Professor and myself, we put ourselves in these positions. These aren't ideations we have. These are beliefs we have based on what we've experienced with women. We've been on these panels and others talking to hundreds and thousands of women, and they're all saying the same thing. So, for example, when I said that women have this 3-step arc, I can point to hundreds and thousands of women that have this 3-step arc. And then every time I hear someone say, well, I'm trying to get my walk right with God, look at the age they're in. They're never in their prime. They're never in those young years like, well, damn, where they get all the attention. They've got all of like their best days ahead of them. They wait until it's almost over. So those aren't ideations. Those are things that I can support with, facts, statistics, and then cases. And there's not anecdotal evidence. Most people on this panel in one way or another has pointed out everything I've said to be true. And it's not a knock on women, but it is an observation that I make on women because I don't pull punches for either side. Kit will explain that to you, or I know you're new, but I'm truthful on both sides of it. So again, when y'all come saying,
he made a man cry on another panel, by the way. It was crazy.
We don't.
Wow.
That wasn't his fault. I was talking to his father. I wasn't even talking to him. But the point is that we say these things. Well, excuse me, I speak for myself because Professor may be different. When I say these things, it's based on my life experience. I'm not the guy that has an issue getting good women. I'm not the guy that hasn't. The only thing easier to get than a good woman is a glass of water. But that's because I've put the work in to be what those women want. That's why. I understand most men can't say that. So most men should not have that opinion. Now I understand where you were trying to go with that. But just understand like that direction where those questions were coming from won't land over here. I can't speak for Professor, but as far as I'm concerned, like my name and my reputation speaks for itself.
Well, there was no ill motive in me asking. I truly didn't know you.
Not ill motive. I don't think
yeah,
that it was ill motive, but the direction those questions go from, it's common. But women say, well, why aren't you married? Which is the question you ask. I'm not married because I haven't chosen someone to be. I've been married before. I was married for 14 years. No one else knows that though. But Professor, same thing. It's not hard for us to get married because we're the ones choosing. So it's hard for us to find women worth choosing, which is, y'all so worried about finding the one instead of being the one. And well,
let me ask you this though, just out of curiosity for the fellas. So what if you actually became better when you got older? Because everyone always likes to say, oh, well,
men do. That's what we do.
That's what we have to.
Yeah, men have to. Women don't. Y'all don't get better as y'all age. Y'all get more experienced, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
Right, and as men, we have to actually.
Can you elaborate on that?
I'll give you.
I was about to say.
I'll give you a perfect. I'll give you a perfect example, Kit, and I'll use you personally. I guarantee that 26, 27-year-old Kit was way more flexible, limber, had been through less, was less sicker of niggas than you are now. Wait. And all the things that men care about, you were less on the wrong end of, because just for the simple fact that you were younger. So like this, at 26, doing all that nasty stuff we want to do to you was probably a lot more easy because you don't have to stretch first. But now you're 40. If I try to fold you like a pretzel, your knees and shit might start popping. That stuff matters.
Get Jerome on this line real quick.
This is a family show.
No,
let me get Jerome on this line real quick so we can prove you wrong about this 43-year-old.
I smell the tiger bomb all over here, Candace.
Whoa. I just want to put this out here because we're not going to throw someone on my name.
No, we're not throwing it about you. Just an example.
Wait, I know. As the example, I fold like origami, baby, because this old chick eating like I live. She does what she does. Okay,
the average person doesn't.
I've been stretching since I was 9.
Because what we're not going to do is make it seem like I don't think it like that. So
no, kid, it's not about you personally.
That out on somebody else.
Generally speaking, generally speaking, because look at it this way too. The average 40-year-old black woman is overweight, short, and had a hard.
Come on now, don't say short.
On average, no, we're not talking about like
my height in it.
We're not talking about like short. Excuse me. Okay, I'll use something else.
I thought we was like 5 steps from eternity just 2 seconds ago.
We good. We fine. I'm just saying that for what guys look for, the older you get, the further away the average woman gets from what he's looking for. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean, now mind you, no man on earth should tell a woman that she is. What the fuck is wrong with my dog? Anyway, no man should tell a woman.
Is it a girl dog?
No, it's a boy. But he's a puppy. He's just a big puppy. Anyway, no man on earth should tell a woman you are worth less as a person because you are older or because you have children. But as far as the dating market goes, when the asset is your suitability for the partner you want, you are definitely worth less as you get older to the majority of the men that you're looking for. Does that mean that you guys need to do anything different? It depends on what you want your outcomes to be. But if you think that waiting until it's okay to wait till you're 30, 35, 40 years old to start trying to find a husband, that's counterintuitive to actually what you say you want your outcome to be, because then you don't know your audience. The men that you want better women than what they're seeing at their age. That's why guys date younger. It's not because we want to mold you or like groom you or all the other stuff Kit said. Like that shit was cute, but I understand where you're coming from as a woman. But it's literally the same reason why, like all those things she was talking about, y'all hate this analogy, but it's the best one. When a guy buys a car, we know what comes with that: maintenance, gas, insurance. We know those things come with it, right? But what we also would try to do is things that are going to minimize the risk we take on buying that car. So we want a lower model car. We want a newer year model. We want a car that doesn't have any safety recalls. We want a car that hasn't been wrecked before. We want a car that has a clean Carfax. And in y'all case, we call it the whatever fax. So it's the same thing when we pick women. We want women to fall in them same categories. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I would want my daughter to be picked by a man who can command that of her. Like a dude who can't provide from a woman can't say, I want a woman with a low body count. No, you need to have her with a high body count. Some of them ex-boyfriends can help y'all fight when y'all get beat up, or so she can go have somebody to get money from. But like the guys that y'all want can command y'all not to have those things because we have so many options.
I'm just saying. I know that might be true for other people, but I know that some people actually.
Well, it's not true. It's not true for you. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? We talk value a lot, right? And when we look at that, you look at men. Men have to naturally. Now, I want to get this off the women. I want to look at the men in this instance. Mm-hmm. We naturally have to work on doing one major thing: is gaining value in life. We're not intrinsically born with value, right? We can have value to our moms, our, sisters, and the people around us. But naturally, the value that we have to get has to be earned. We have to get respect in the world. We have to now build ourselves up financially. Most women don't want a broke man. You don't want to deal with a man that didn't do anything. Like, all I did was play video games all day, you're not going to respect me. Even if I made a little bit of money, you want to at least know that I did something in life, respectfully so. So that's what we're talking about with the men, that it's different when it's men and women. Women naturally are born with their values. So, and I know this is an old statement, a lot of people say it, but naturally your beauty can get you far. It takes a beautiful woman can sit on a yacht tomorrow with a millionaire if she wanted to at 21. I can't. I gotta buy the yacht. That's just how it goes.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way I'm sitting on a yacht. So that's where we talk about the difference in value. So it makes sense for women to utilize their value when they're younger to solidify the future that they want. Until us men, we have to gain respect at around 35, 40 to now be able to buy that yacht so you can sit on with me. There you go. Yo, is that your dog? Is that your dog
What
walking
is
around?
that?
What?
It might have been him.
I got you.
I wanted to touch on something. I don't know how far back you can go, but I don't even remember his name. Somebody said something in regards to nobody can be in this world alone. Being married or being with someone, you become more of yourself. Now, I agree with that. Just thinking biblically. In relationship, when you're in relationship with anybody, when you're in community or in relationship with anybody, you have people that challenge you in certain ways. And in marriages, a lot of people go into marriage for the wrong reasons or without the right outlook as what the purpose of marriage. That's exactly it. Without the purpose of what the purpose of marriage truly is, which is to sanctify. And let's go ahead and put it in a non-biblical way. It's to make you a better person, to bring out the things in you that you can't bring out in yourself. So let's talk about in my former marriage and the marriage that I was in before. I was married for 23 years. I got married young. So I was raised I was raised in two areas, and my grandfather did both. I was raised to be a woman that got her own. I've had a business since I was 15 years old, and I was also raised to be a wife. I was always raised to care for my husband, to be in the position to be a wife, but I was also raised to make sure that I not let any man wife me. So that being said, there's a lot of things that made who I am today that I would not have had if I wasn't challenged with the things that I was challenged with as a young wife. So I was married at 23. I got with my husband at 19. And in my current relationship, even though I'm 43 years old and in this relationship, of course, it's moving towards marriage, it is something that is also developing me into the things that God needs to come out of me, because he needs it to come out of me. I didn't go to God because of a relationship thing or whatever. I was in a horrible car accident, and I saw God in a whole new way, and that's why I went to God. So in that, in being in a relationship, that's something that has molded me. And yes, it is just like God, men are Christ on earth. It's a woman's Christ on earth, or your husband is your Christ on earth. So he is positioned to mold you. He is positioned to mold you, and women are moldable. That's just how things go. So I just wanted to kind of say that in regards to what Kit said, and also support certain things that Block and Professor said in whatever way that he said it. But I know him, so I know he meant well, child. But yeah, I think that being in relationship and in something like marriage, younger, does help you become more of who you are supposed to be. And I think that is why a lot of women, because they've pushed away marriage, because they feel like they can do everything that they're supposed to be by themselves until they get to the age and realize that was not the thing. So now they have to make up that space. And it's harder than because they are older. So yeah.
That's kind of heavy. I feel like shit. I got to be somebody Christ on earth. There's some big shoes to fill.
But you already are, though. Block, with who you are. You have to understand. You already provide that. You already are that. It's not about you. You have to be somebody's Christ on earth. It just is. You already have the things that are inbred in you. When I hear you speak past all the BS, when I hear you speak, you already have that. That's
you
something that
literally
when
just said it. You said you're what? You would be the top contender, and any woman would be happy to be with you.
I didn't say that.
It was a summarized version, in the sense of you are confident enough to know that tomorrow, would you say Monday you can get married?
Yeah.
If you wanted to. So
If you had a
Yeah.
wife, would you save your wife?
Save my wife from what?
Your wife. I'm not talking about
pass-
any woman. Your
Would
wife
you,
from
would you
anything.
save your wife from passing away or
No. That's not what I said. Don't put words in my mouth. Stay
Okay.
out my business.
Look,
Block.
Wait.
Well, then answer the question. Answer the question.
I'm talking to
specifically what you want.
blockchain. I'm
When I'm
talking to
talking to Candace,
blockchain.
I'm
and I'm
listening.
talking to
I'm
Candace.
listening. I'm listening.
I'm talking
Go ahead,
to
go ahead.
blockchain.
You're violent.
Okay, Candace.
Blockchain, your
We heard
knowing
you 3
who
times.
you are, knowing
Mhm.
who you are, if you chose somebody to be your wife,
Mhm.
put yourself in there. You chose somebody
Right.
to be your wife. Would you save her? So if you chose somebody to be your wife, you know she has the right mind to not put herself in situations that are ridiculous for you to save her from. Would you save her?
Oh, I watched the world burn to save my wife.
You are her Christ on earth, my love.
Oh, okay. Well, you just said, Jesus and his son. I mean, God and his son. I take them. That's
I get it. I get it.
That's all I was asking.
I
But yeah,
get
if
it.
it's for my wife,
Jesus'
yeah,
children is
for my wife,
questionable.
I'll blow up. I'll fight, a handful of handicapped kids to save my wife. That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Look,
Come on now.
blockchain.
They're
Look,
not
let
a
me tell you
handful.
something. Look,
Yeah.
only $19 a month. Look, I get it. Knock them all out. Okay, out the chairs and everything. I'll knock all these children over.
Handicapped kids, studs, homeless people, whatever. For my
All
wife.
right, point made. Now, Professor, what you want to argue about?
Not a fly in the eyes too.
I don't want to argue about anything. I just want you to ask more specific questions. You just said, "Would you say?"
I did. You're just not on
Save her
that
what?
level. Blockchain understood.
Okay. I'm
know one
on a very high level, Candace.
I know one thing. Y'all be choosing violence,
That's
and I
good.
don't understand. I be wanting peace in
Right.
the Middle East. And
That's how the world works.
And watermelon
Coming in
shit that
hot.
black people love. Like I don't know.
That's how the world works, and that's why the respect between men is what it is, because we know we always have the option to go nuclear. If you say the wrong thing to the wrong man, violence is next. Like that's one of the things that men protect women from. Because if we didn't protect y'all from that, y'all wouldn't talk to us crazy, or y'all wouldn't think that it was okay to be disrespectful to men. Because the average man,
Shut your face. I ain't never been disrespectful.
the average man is not going to put his hands on a woman at the same way he will put his hands on another man for being disrespectful. So we've made you guys feel safe in that. So we protect y'all from that, from yourselves, because again, just say as bad as you've cussed a man out before, kid, and I know you because I know you've cussed a man out before. If a man cussed
every
professor
week,
out,
every week,
if a man cussed professor out like that, it would be, there is a violent outcome. If they were to cuss me out like that, we're going on t-shirts now, because respect is real and violence is the universal currency of respect between men. So
hold up, Jazz. Hold up, Jazz has something to say. I saw Jazz's face. Jazz was like,
her face. She leaned back.
Like
Face
to play
got
no
different.
part in activities, and
Trying
I
to
Right.
process.
Look, I saw her face.
There's some things that you don't need to process. You'll get it. This is your first time on the panel, my love. And for y'all in the comments, don't come for us. We family. We can talk
Back
like
up.
this.
Move.
We can talk
I
like
know
this. We
one
family.
thing.
We be loving on each other in the background.
I know one thing. I just want Jesus to come and get his children together, because y'all are ungrateful.
Oh my God. You need to feed that dog.
I mean, I
don't need to feed this dog nothing.
What is wrong with the baby?
He wanted to be on. He wouldn't stop crying because he wasn't on camera.
Well,
there you go.
well, bring him up here. He probably cute. Put him on camera.
And Candace, you're right, because I walked on water 2 weeks ago, so we are crazy.
You know what? You ain't walking on no water. You might be
I did.
walking,
It was
but you ain't walking.
I promise you.
It was frozen water, but I walked on it.
Bunny. That was the water.
Yo, let me hear.
That's what I got on top of.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me hear from Matthew. Matthew, what's good, man?
Matthew been in the background just cheesing and laughing.
He been there laughing the whole time.
Yo, he has been kicking the whole time.
Matthew over there trying to find a Spanish person to write a policy for. Like, can you please come back? He sent you across the border too.
Hey man, I need an IUL, man. Let me get your information so I can get some more life insurance set up.
Oh man, no. On a real note, though, I think I think it's messed up, because I mean I had to really take a look back in history on kind of where, like, how do we even get here? Because it was just amazing to me that at the height of Jim Crow, 1965, we were married at 80%. You know, and it's just like,
That's
what,
easy.
you know,
I can tell
Feminism
you
and
what
government
happened.
assistance. There we go. We win.
and that was the
1969.
second
Oh my
point about
God,
The Great
Jesus.
Society.
but yeah, and so whenever I realize that, it's just like, I mean, so I'm interested to hear from the professor and blockchain on this. What do you
First
think?
of,
Go ahead.
go ahead. I thought you were done. I apologize. Go ahead, brother.
No. I was gonna say, like, what do you think? At least for our community, what is the first real step in the right direction for us?
So
Bring back shame. My bad. Go ahead,
yeah.
Professor.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
Back to the
He's right.
Handmaid's
Bring back
Tale.
Shane. If that's part of it, but I know GMT and I've had this conversation, and I think GMT's outlook is a little bit different, a little bit worse than mine. I've told him, I said, I think we're about 20 years apart. I think we're 20 years from getting together at anywhere close to a level we were at in the 60s.
Okay.
I think that's a minimal that's a minimal assessment there. I think we're so far away from each other that I don't think it's going to happen in my daughter's lifetime.
Really?
That's how far away I think we are. So, so the first steps is to me is minuscule when it comes to how far I think we are away.
I would say I think that one we need to bring back shame because 20 years ago being promiscuous wasn't championed or paid for nor idolized. And then we also need to understand that women don't lead anything in the Black community, but they inspire and motivate everything. 99% of the stuff a man does to grow up to make himself worthwhile as a man is also what makes him worthwhile to a woman, as a wife. I guarantee you, none of the men with money would be spending millions of dollars on cars, jewelry, houses, and clothes if women didn't care about those things. We wouldn't care about going to the gym if women didn't like fit men. We wouldn't be worried about anything that's just unnatural to us or that was required us to work hard and be disciplined in if it didn't benefit us when it came to procuring resources and I'd say in the light of the things we get from women. So I think that's it. And then the lastly, I just think that I don't think that it'll ever happen again. How the nuclear family used to be back before, first wave, second wave feminism and government assistance. I think that is dead. I don't think that we're going to have a time where the traditional family is just what's the norm and what's the standard because we're getting so far away from that now. Like we can't even protect women's spaces from men that want to role play as women, or we can't protect children from men who want to make it okay for dating small children. So like I think that era and age is dead and it'll never come back. So those of us who are still holding on to it, I think after our generation, it's over because with Gen Z, they're accepting, men wearing dresses and painting their fingernails or girls peeing, standing up, or men, competing in women's athletics or 50-50 relationships or being like, the house husband, the rate of house husband has increased by 8%, between about 4% over the past 8 years every year. So now there's more men staying at home and tending the kids. So I don't think that we'll ever go back to that. So if that's what you want, find someone that can actually give it to you or get ready to adapt.
But here's the thing
and
about tradition. Wait, I just want to say this though, right? Traditions are created and then continue, right? So are we not just in a space where
Hold up, blockchain. I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna mute you.
My bad.
Every time you type, you can hear you type in and everything. That mic is crazy.
Are we not just at a space where traditions changing and now we're at a precipice where you've got one set of people who have adapted and grown in this new generation of change, things that we've kind of seen were on the out sectors, right? It wasn't something that was mainstream. It was something that you knew about, but it wasn't treated as just a regular, a part of the regular conundrum that we're all living in, right? So when you have this space where you no longer have like the big mamas and you no longer have that family dynamic, isn't it up to us to create a new traditional path in which we are comfortable in and we set for ourselves and then continue that, because that's what winds up happening when Big Mama dies and no one continues that tradition. 9 times out of 10, either tradition dies and then everything just kind of runs amok, or new traditions are created in those places. I really just feel like we're at a space where what we believe and knew to be true as far as how men should be perceived, how they should act, how they should be in society, the way that women should be acting and perceived in society has now changed. And now the look of it isn't what we know as tradition or what we are used to. So now you
So we
have
should
this
change the
new.
tradition.
Well, I think
Oh, I
we
think
have.
that's a horrible idea. I think
Well, I
that's a
think that you.
horrible idea.
But
Well,
you're
I think
thinking
that's
Candace, I
a
that's
think.
a
horrible
horrible
idea. Because if
oh,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
wow. I think that you're thinking that's a horrible idea.
Hold on, hold on.
Oh,
Professor, I want to hear
Yeah. That's why I
Candace's
stopped. That's why I
response
stopped.
to.
That's why I stopped.
I want to
Yeah.
hear your response, Candace. Why do you think it's a
Mine,
horrible idea?
if I'm understanding you correctly, Kit, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that the traditions of old, since the people who carried on those traditions are now gone, that we should view what's going on now and create our own traditions. Is that what you're saying? To what works for us?
What I'm saying is this: what we think and view tradition as is different than this generation is for what they're viewing it as, because it's not even being passed down, because at certain points it's died off. So now
Okay.
who's going to be the resurrector of this old tradition when you have all of these new, things that are now a part of our society and commonplace that weren't even a thought back then. Again, it was always the funny uncle was always something that was talked about, but it wasn't like mainstream. Like the one dressing with the nails and whatever, that was something that was like talked about, but it wasn't like in this huge pocket. So what we view as tradition and what we view as what should be isn't what they see in this generation. We have 40-year-old grandparents now. We're at a different place. So what does tradition look like? Because again, tradition starts with how you set something up and then how it's carried on through time and
Yeah,
generation.
I just needed to make sure that I was hearing you correctly. I do not think that people should just, because things are looking different now and the world is changing, that we should acclimate our traditions to adjust to the world, because things are just going to get
But
more
we
out of
currently don't
control.
have any
I think
tradition.
that
So then what do you do?
I, what you do is you go back, you find a solidified basis, go back to something that worked, and then you create that tradition. Then it's not just adapt to something that's going on now. That's just like
So what
adapting to the world.
works?
If the world
Because if
decides
it
to do
works,
whatever it is the world decides to do, we gonna
Marriage
do that
work.
because it's what worked.
I get it, but okay, so what? No, marriage worked as far as how it was perceived, because a lot of older women that I've spoken to who have been
No,
married
perception is relative, and that's
would
horrible.
absolutely say
Marriage got us through
that
400
they
years, got
could
us
have
through
done
Jim
it without
Crow.
a man.
Marriage worked.
Okay, if marriage works, so now we have the tradition of marriage, but we also have the tradition of women either being stuck in marriages because they weren't being treated properly or
Those are
being cheated
choices.
on
Those are
because it was
personal choices.
financial.
That's
So
not
then we
that's not the
stay in,
The
construct
okay,
of it.
union
but
of
then,
a
It
okay,
doesn't
marriage
mean the
is still the
construct is
best.
wrong.
Yeah.
Those
But
are
why do we?
people and how they get into things. That's the poison that people put
Yeah.
into it. The construct isn't wrong. We shouldn't change the
The
construct.
perfect
We need
union
to
of a
make sure
marriage
that
is
we are ready to
yeah.
operate in the proper construct that builds us.
okay,
And,
so you're trying to build, okay, let me make sure I understand correctly. You
And
all are
I feel
trying
like,
to
hold
have,
on, I feel like that
okay,
is an excuse for us to make it easier on us to redo the construct so that it's easier for us to walk in it. No, grow.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I believe the union of marriage
See, I know I don't
still,
argue. I'm not
is
going back
still
and
the
forth about it.
best union for procreation and for the establishment of communities, cities, towns, states, countries. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
like
yeah. But Candace, we're on the same side here. I think there are new traditions now. The tradition is have kids outside of marriage and raise our kids, and then complain about the sons that we raise because they're not strong enough. They're too girly. They're living a sprinkle lifestyle. So what Matthew and you are saying, Candace, we need to go back to what actually worked. It works for every other community but us. Why are we the only community that refuses to work together, refuses to get married until we're older, and then we're older trying to have kids at 38, 39, 40 years old? or trying to bring 2-3 kids to a marriage or to a relationship from 2 or 3 different dudes. That's on the men and women's side. Go ahead.
That's some of that's on the men's side, but that's mostly on the women's. The stuff that you listed, right? But the stuff that's on the men's side that we do is a lot of guys out here trying to have more than one family. A lot of guys out here will be.
I want to talk about fucking traditions.
One of the things that I think is crazy is like
we need to bring back shame.
Stop cursing, kid.
Yeah, people,
God damn it.
Guys get married and then don't want to cut their hose off. Like how? Like you can't like say you fixing to get married. Like it's like a guy, he'll announce his wedding and then there's 15 women mad at him because he's been talking to them, flirting with them, hitting 3 of them, used to hit the other 7, and now he's married. So like that's too common. So the traditions are now not what they used to be. So it's not that the traditions need to be changed or reworked. We need to go back to the traditions that actually worked. Like when we had Christmas every year at your grandmother's house, you open gifts at midnight, you had those types of things, or where you actually had families, role models you could look forward to. One of the benefits about our generation is even if we didn't have it at home, we had it on TV. We had the Cosbys. I don't want to talk about anything else, but Dr. Huxtable was the dad. We had the Carl Winslows. We had the Uncle Phils. You know what I'm saying? We had the Furious, like Boys in the Hood. So we had strong fathers in household where it's a woman and a man dealing with each other, showing like inner workings of family that we could grow up and aspire to. Kids now don't have that. The stuff that they watch on TV and YouTube will have 2 dudes and a girl, have 2 girls, have a girl with 15 cats. It'll have, a girl with like 7 kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the stuff that these kids are seeing as they grow up to continue these traditions, there's foreign to them because they don't have it at home. And then what they do have and get the most exposure from are their friends, teachers, and social media. Because if you look at a child's day, a child spends more time with his friends and teachers than he ever does his parents. That's another problem that we have. But traditionally, that wasn't what our tradition was. Back when our tradition was, you came home, your family was there. You had an aunt, we had blended families, or we just had, a relative to live with us that will watch our kids instead of them going to after school programs or just being outside and playing by themselves. So I think that the tradition doesn't need to change. I think that our priorities need to change. And
Absolutely.
Again, if we bring back shame, then now a lot of the traditions that are common now they're not really traditions, they're just normal. The things that have been normalized now, you bring back shame, that stuff goes away. Well, shame and bullying, because you got to have somebody enforce the shame. But
I did have one question, and I feel like it kind of ties in what Kit was trying to say, maybe, was because I agree. I believe that we need the foundation and the stability of tradition. But I think there were issues in marriages back then. One example is the multiple families. Like back in the day, women weren't allowed to step out, but a man could have another family or sleeping around. And it wasn't, we talk about bringing back shame, but at least from my perspective as a woman, I feel shame was one-sided. The shame kept the woman together and held to a standard, but men didn't really experience shame.
We experienced shame.
Black family, because my mama and my grandma and my great grandma went off on them niggas.
We experience shame. The world shames us. That's one thing that. So there's always the like men do it too argument, and this is where I excel. The world shames men. You know why Professor gets shamed when he gets caught having multiple families? Because he got caught. That's why he gets shamed. And now because you were sloppy and you didn't close your phone, or you left Coretta's lipstick on your coveralls when you came from the factory, like you being sloppy, he gets shamed by his male friends. He also gets shamed by the world after they get divorced. Because when both of those families are broken, no one cares what you did in a relationship. When you get divorced, no one ever asks, well, Dad, what did the wife do? Or it's always the man's fault. That's the first thing they go towards. So we get shamed in a level that women will never understand. And fortunately for you guys, that's great. Because the only things that we can shame you for are the stuff that is just common sense egregious, like taking multiple penises at one time, having kids and not knowing who your father is, taking 4 or 5 penises in a week. Like we shame you for things that are just common sense bad. Men, we get shamed for not being able to pay for 100% of a household in a society where the average income is like $50,000. But y'all don't get shamed for that. But then also you guys get help. There's a safety net for most women when they fail at something. After a divorce, safety net. You know what that safety net is? Alimony, child support, and the court system.
I can't agree with that.
But it's kind of what statistics.
I'm just saying personally. I understand generally.
You can't. So that's fine. I got that. Or you're saying you lose your job. Do you know that it's significantly easier for a woman to file for unemployment than it is for a man? You know why? Because you guys, because you guys get preferential treatment because we also know that if you guys don't get that money, it's coming from government assistance. So they are mandated to make it easier for women. So like women have a safety net. So that shame that men have is that lack of safety net. The majority of homeless people are men. The majority of people in jail are men. The majority of people dying from workplace accidents are men. That's where our shame comes in. It's literally a life or death type of shame.
Yeah, and let's not get it twisted, because the cheating rate is not that much different than it was back in the day, and a lot of women didn't stay because of bad relationships, and there's a reason that we had the connotation of the milkman's baby. So women were cheating just as much as men were. So we can't live that either. But the people who stayed in those relationships, that were good relationships, healthy relationships, they created families, and we need to get. That's what we're saying. We need to get back to, not to the small percentage of women who went through bad situations, who were cheated on, who was AB'd, things of that. So we're talking about the good situations that people were in, where they grew their family, started traditions, and that family kept going. We need to get back to that, not where we are now. That's why I say we're 20 plus years away from where we need to be, because we're so far away from each other.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to what I was saying, because round of applause for the panel. Y'all did your knockout big one. I love my crew. But let me be very clear about what I was saying. For one, without change, there's no evolution. We don't evolve. You feel what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that the traditions of old can't be used. It's just about how it is within the society that we currently live in. Y'all are trying to bring a society of yesterday in today, and we already see, based on how society behaves today, that is something that is not necessarily functional, right? I'm talking about, like, again, if you want to have like traditions as far as like families and marriages, I'm all for that. Like that's a great tradition to have, right? But there are also, other traditions that may not serve well as far as where we are as a society now, that we can say, okay, you know what? As we evolve as people, because we can't remain the same, there's no growth there. I don't even know why anybody would want to stay and remain the same like that. Like, why are we not edging to grow in a better place that puts us in a better space, right? And within traditions, we should, even if it's the same thing going on, we have to think about the new people that are coming into these traditions. It's not like you have people who have grown up with a whole bunch of traditions. Candace, let me let you say whatever it is you need to say so you can stop making me
I'm just listening. Go ahead.
Are you sure? Because your face is doing more.
Yeah, I'm sure. If I had something to say, I would say it. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay,
her face looked like everything you said smelled like shit.
Right.
Right.
That word.
Because you know me. I like everybody to get it out. Like from here.
But I want you to get it out, because we keep going. Go ahead.
Like I said, y'all are gonna feel how y'all feel, and y'all already know how I am. So it is what it is. But I just personally feel like, tradition wise, we have to, even if we want to keep some traditions, let's say we want to keep marriage, right? We have to evolve and look at what marriage looks like today, right? Are we trying to just have like Professor said, like, no, I think it was blockchain. There's more men staying at home now. That's not a traditional thing from before, because a lot of women are making more money than some men now, depending on the relationship and the dynamic, right? You got more men staying at home. That's not a traditional thing. But as we evolve and as people, that may be the new family dynamic that we're in. The woman is making more money, so the man might be working from home even. We don't know. But what I'm saying is that if we're looking at just keeping it as a traditional husband, wife, that you're going to have problems, because you're in a society that does not subscribe to that. Like they're not taking the pill of, I need a man. We got men. Look, we got people that we literally be trying to, get together, and dudes be acting wild crazy sometimes. Like you and vice versa on women too. Again, all I'm saying is that as far as tradition goes, some things I believe absolutely should be there. Other things need to evolve to include the people of now, so that it can continue to grow and continue into a tradition. That's all I'm saying.
So I don't think having a traditional marriage, when I say a traditional marriage, as far as the tradition of marriage, I don't think that means that within a marriage that everything has to be exactly the same.
Right.
So what we're saying is, because every marriage is different, what works in that marriage, and no one can judge that. But it's having the right attitude and having the right focus and the outlook. Both people have to have it. So I think what we're talking about is just the institution of marriage
right.
and creating that tradition and what marriage brings as far as having the right mindset when you're going into marriage. Not saying that, oh, I'm getting married so that this person can just make me happy for the rest of my life. No, we have to go into marriage understanding what the purpose of marriage is from the root of it. So that tradition, not necessarily the woman has to stay home. Now, me coming from a biblical perspective or from a faith perspective, I just think that things kind of work better when things are done where the man goes out and and earns by the sweat of his brow or whatever the case may be. And the woman carries and nurtures and does what she's supposed to do, goes out and purchases the field when he goes out, looks and sees what she's going to buy and purchases the field and multiplies that, because we are natural multipliers. I think that it works better like that. My children were homeschooled. It worked. But being in the society that we're in now, whatever works, works. Right now, in the relationship that I'm in, we came together. We're a blended family now. So, right now, because we both went through what we went through, we both were married before, and we are still rebuilding from our marriages. Even though we are working towards marriage, we are still doing what we have to do individually to, one, heal from what we've had to heal from, but we're two, working together to build that traditional marriage so that we can grow in the way that's going to compound, like compound interest as opposed to adding. I'm about multiplication, and marriage does that.
Let me be
I wanna-
very clear. Wait, hold up. Wait, I need to address something because y'all already know I will burn this whole thing down. Oaken, I don't know what your beef or your issue is, bro. I don't know what I said about that. I want the host to rule. I don't know what about
Stay out
and
the comments.
no,
Why are
because,
you in the
but we
comments?
like Oaken, and I like for Oaken to make. I like Oaken, just like the Orkin man. We like Oaken. We want to make sure that Oaken ain't out here, being a bug in our kennel. And so I want to make sure that he understands
We
that
are
I
we
am not.
are
And that I just want to make sure he understands that.
hold up, blockchain. I
Okay,
gotta mute you, man.
blockchain,
I gotta mute
please. I just want to make sure that he understands that that is not what I was saying, and I want to be very clear that nothing about what I was saying like, let the 304s rule, yay, like that had nothing to do with it. I'm just talking about it. The reason why we have a lot of the problems that we have is because we refuse to grow from the past, and that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, let me hear from Jazz. Jazz, what's up?
I mean, honestly, how I feel right now is I want solution. Like, I like to be solution based. So this is great for us to share, our perspective. But in the end of the day, like the women, Professor says we're about 20 years out from this ideal what is it? The traditional sense of going back to what it should look like when it comes to marriage and that standard.
Just getting married at that same clip we were in the 1960s.
Okay. So what could we be
80%.
doing?
Got it.
What could we be doing? Like, what are some real life, actual examples? The women to speak on the women, the men to speak on the men, on creating those marriages or things that we can implement so that we can get there.
I like that. So what I want for that question, because we're all hold on, blockchain, blockchain, you got.
I'm not doing nothing.
Going on. What?
I didn't make no noise.
Where the lights come from?
You down there, you look like a whole Christmas tree, and then on top
But it's
of
Dallas, I think.
Again,
it's a lot of
life
noise
choices.
happening. Questionable life choices.
It's
All right,
Dallas.
so
life
what I want, I know, man, my people's from Dallas, man, but what I want from that question that Jazz asked, I want the women to answer this strictly from the women's perspective, and the men, I want us to answer it strictly from the male perspective on what we can do before we close the show. So I would like to start with our new panelists, Matthew, on this one, and we'll get a male to start with his perspective on what the men can do to get back there. Matt,
Kind of with
there you go.
blockchain on the. No, I was thinking and processing my thoughts. I'm sorry. I think the first thing I'm kind of with blockchain on this one. Shame. So whenever I'm serious, so like whenever we see one of our boys or someone about to go lay a seed unprotected or about to go be a player or whatever have you, or has a roster, but they're talking about whatever have you, like we need to stop that. Personally, even if this is a private conversation or whatever needs to happen. But I think shame on our end is the first step, and I think our shame can be done in privately, like bro to bro and man to man. But I think that's the first step, at least in my perspective.
Okay. Candace, from a woman's perspective, what's your thoughts?
If I were to have a woman sitting in front of me and she were to ask me, what do I need to do? I would say, honey, you need to understand who you are first. You need to have your own identity, understand who you are before you put yourself in the position to be found by a man, because a lot of responsibility comes with that. And you have to be sure of who you are, so that you aren't going into that relationship expecting something that man was never meant to provide for you. Um, yeah, so that would be my first thing, and to be completely self-aware and to make sure. And if she, at the point that she decides that she is where she is and she does have the wherewithal to be that self-aware woman, then she needs to start to prepare herself and start to do the research to what it looks like to be a wife, and find someone that matches with that. But pretty much just finding out who she is and making sure that she's not getting into a marriage so that she can feel complete.
Okay, I'm with that. Professor, talk to us.
Hey, some people say if it ain't nappy, I ain't happy.
What? You like snow bunnies? What are you talking about?
That's why I said some people say that. I think we need to
Okay.
continue. I think we need to continue to marry outside of our race.
Oh my God!
Still keep marrying outside your race. Increase that 15% to 35%.
Yo, the thoughts of Professor does not reflect
Represent
anyone on this
on the panel at all.
No, you got
At
no
all.
GMT.
No,
GMT,
no,
wait, hold
I'm
on.
just.
The thoughts and ideas of TDP, the professor, have nothing and no withholding as far as the actual panel for grown men talking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
if it
you.
ain't white, if it ain't white, it ain't right.
You
No,
gotta put the
listen.
disclaimers
Oh
out
my
front
God.
with the right
Listen,
voice.
listen.
'Cause they'll
If
get
she,
people
That is
in them.
diabolical. Oh my gosh.
if she uses my comb, don't bring her home. No, listen. No, but to
Call
be
you
quite honest with
Sebastian.
you, Matthew was sort of right, man. You know, I've gotten on friends of mine who had multiple kids outside of wedlock. I think we need to go back to finishing the families that we start. I think we, there's if other races can sleep with a bunch of women and not produce kids, we need to do the same. And I'm very hypocritical when I come to things of this sort. In addition to that, a lot of us are growing up without fathers, either they pass away or they're just not around. We need to find men that we can get mentored by. Someone like yourself, GMT, Blockchain, Matthew, myself. We need to find men in the community that we can be mentored by and actually follow that information. Also, we need to sometimes put our head down, make ourselves the type of man that a woman is going to want, and then we make ourselves that man, go back and find that woman. She more likely than not won't be the same age as you are, so you may want to find her a little younger. But that's the plan, and that's what I would say. At the end of the day, don't let society tell you who you are, what you are. Don't let the women of our culture tell you who you are, what you got to be. Make yourself the best version of yourself, and then go find a woman that fits what you want and that fits the criteria, that's ready to get on your page, and work with you, not against you.
Okay. Since you asked first, Jazz, since you this was your question, we'll go to you last. I want Kit to go now, Blockchain, and then I'll go. Then you'll go, then I'll go. You on mute. There we
I don't
go.
know what the hell I'm on. Leave me alone.
Ooh.
So, how do we? What was the question again? I was getting somebody together in the chat. What happened?
What would you tell a woman? What would you tell a woman? Like, what do women need to do to, I guess, bridge the divide or to be ready for marriage? Or what would you tell a woman in regards to that?
Yeah, asking me. Okay.
Kid don't understand the question.
Look,
She like,
why
this is
marry?
like,
Look,
she just rebooted just now. Her whole
I did. Like, I
brain
ain't
just
gonna tell you no
rebooted.
lie. It's just like it went from did not compute to like a quick reboot.
Basically, Jazz's question really, it was what Candace said, but along the lines of getting it back to how it was in 1960.
So the way that we from a woman's perspective, I guess, what I would tell a woman would be to value the thing that she's going for. And that starts
That's
with
good.
valuing yourself, right? I had said something, me, and just to give you some perspective as to why that's my take on it. Me and a couple of my friends was talking about our scales that we have that basically tell all your business, right? Tell you how fat you are, how much muscle you got, go to the gym. Like, it's real disrespectful, right? And I said, no one has really disrespected myself more than me, and that's the hardest slice of cake to eat, right?
Mm.
So when you're going into these types of spaces where you're joining another person, it's a union. I definitely believe in believing in the value of the exchange that you will eventually have with your person. If you don't value what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're addressing you for certain things that are, big and detrimental to your life, even if it's something small and just has meaning to that person, you'll never truly value the relationship. You have to value the person in it. You have to value the exchange of it, and you have to value what you will bring to it.
That's good.
Told you I just had to reboot a little bit. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I see. Jesus Christ.
That was
That was
good.
rough. And every time you talk, literally every word you got blurrier. It's crazy.
That's
But
because
you gonna
Jesus
work on
wants
that,
you to
Rob?
That's because y'all need to focus on the voice and not the face. This face card ain't declining. I mean, she's straight.
Ever.
Just focus on the voice. See, focus on that. Like, do that.
Go ahead, Block.
I was, I was just
Stay in
waiting.
his place.
I
I
was just
can't
waiting.
hear him
It
with
was,
that hat
it
on.
was so stoic. When Block's face gets stoic, you know he about to cook.
But can we?
Uh,
But can he cook without that hat on? I don't want to listen to two
Kid,
retarded things at the same
would,
time. Like,
would
can
it,
we at least get the hat off? Like,
listen, just because you're on a flip phone right now does not mean that my hat is retarded.
first things first. Flip phones came back popular. You tried it.
No, but you're on a Motorola Razr. Like, you got the little snake foot on your phone. But that's cool.
When you got a caller set up.
Listen. I'll take it off. You happy now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
I
Damn,
can hear your words.
that's crazy work.
So there was three things that I was going to say, but Professor took one, but I had a different reason for it. But it ties into my first one, which is stop dating them. Because at the end of the day, if you want to stop giving somebody a safety net, you have to stop being that for them. I think a lot of women won't change because they know that there's men whose standards are so low, they'll accept them anyway, especially if they look good. So I think that if men would just completely detach from dating black women and talking about the men that black women actually want, because the rest of y'all don't count. And sorry, fellas, but the majority of men that we're talking about, that 20% they actually want, would stop dating them, they'll get their act together. And the only reason why is because that they know that they don't have a choice then. They know they have a choice now. They can go out and be the biggest 304s, the most disrespectful, the most masculine, the most insufferable, the most brisk, the most brolic women possible. But they know it's a sucker somewhere who's going to take them eventually at their worst, and their 4, 5, 6 kids and 9 baby daddies. But if we just collectively stopped being willing to date them, then they would stop, because white men aren't checking for black women. Nobody else is checking for black women except for black men at the rate that black women want to be checked for. Globally speaking, black women are, westernized. American black women are viewed as the least attractive women on earth, globally speaking. So with that being said, if we're the only ones check for them, they're their only audience, we're the only people trying to buy them as far as, get with them and pursue them. Once we stop, that will motivate them because they have no choice. The second is just to be Hunger Games. Focus on yourself and your own survival, and stop trying to save women that aren't in your family. If it's not your sister, your mother, or one of your cousins, you're not protecting and providing for nobody. Because then that's when they'll see, well, you know what? It really is hard being a man, because I have to do all these things for myself. I got to cut my own grass. I got to protect myself when someone breaks in the house. I think that would significantly change things. And then the last one now, since Professor took one of my good ones, is we need to start teaching our kids younger. At the end of the day, women, like teaching our daughters that they need to rely on men. When you call the police for something happens, regardless of what you tell me as the feminist in you, because women are super capable, you don't want a female police officer showing up. If you have a car accident and you got to get drug out of car, you don't want Kit showing up. Not Kit. You don't want someone who is 5 foot, a $150 showing up to pick up like my 6 foot, 250-pound ass. Like, so we have to start giving men, teaching women, little girls to respect men at an earlier age, because they think that they can do things in spite of a man, or we teach them to be independent, and then when they get into a relationship, we fail in teaching them to be interdependent. Because when you're in a relationship, it's not two independent people; it's two people who are interdependent on one of another. You should teach your daughter to be dependent on her husband for the things that he's meant to do, and he's meant to be the thing he swore to you as a father that he would be to her. And then I think if you knock any one of those three things out, I would hope it'd be the little girls first, because I don't want to see the single rate or the unwed rate of Black women get any higher than it already is. Because at the end of the day, the every year after 40, you add like a 6% chance of you dying alone and unloved. So by the time you're 50, that you're 60% more likely to die alone. I hate that for Black women. And I do understand that a lot of y'all deserve it, but again, that's not all of y'all. And I don't want that to be the general thing, or like the general outcome for Black women. Like, I don't want you guys to be viewed as the least attractive. I don't want you guys to be the most unwed, the most evicted, or all these other statistics that these guys have for Black women. I hate that, but I think the only way we can change it by teaching our daughters, who are 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, to grow up to be different than the women they're idolizing.
Okay.
Agreed.
Now
that was so good.
All right. Yes. What up, Jazz?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, Blockchain said his last point was kind of what I felt would be my point, but I guess to piggyback off of that is for us to have a different understanding on what submission is as a woman. I felt like there was a negative connotation associated with that for a long time that goes in with this hyper independence, that goes in with this idea that, oh, I don't need a man, like undoing that. And the sooner the better. So teaching the children and our younger family members that you do need a man, that submission isn't lack or that you are less than, but in it is the power of a woman. That's where that nurture and that support comes from, and understanding that the word submission in itself doesn't take away from you, but allows you to fully step into the role that you're made to be for your man, and allowing a man to lead. And I think women say that, but unfortunately we have it misconstrued of what leading looks like. So it is, what can you buy from me? What, No. Allowing a man to step into that role, and then our job then is to choose the man. So listen to him, watch him, see how he acts with his family, see how he shows up with you in the interactions in his daily life, his values, his morals, and then ask those questions of how the life path, right? Like what vision that he has for his life. And as a woman, then it's your job to say, yes, I see myself supporting that vision and helping you bring that to life. And if it's not, then humbly removing yourself so you're not wasting his time.
Yeah. Submission is an art form.
Oh,
If we look at it like that.
I love that. I'm with that. I'm with that definitely. On my note, right? What I always do tell men is to mentor the young, right? Take young men and put them under your wing. Show them. You'd be surprised how many young men are out there yearning for the attention of a male to teach them. You'd be surprised. I was one of them. And a lot of men that I talk to now didn't even realize that they had it in them. But all they needed was somebody to get down to the level that they are and actually talk to them. Tell them what to do with a wife. Tell them how to be a father, right? Show them the importance of men in society and what and letting them feel that they are important. One thing that you see with a lot of men, we do not, like we said, the workplace death, men, incarceration, men, just everything negative in society falls on a man's shoulder. So you tend to, as men, not feel as important in life. Am I saying something funny, Candace? Candace over
No,
here
I'm in
rolling.
the comments.
We're
My bad,
laughing
baby.
at the
I'm sorry.
comments. We're laughing at the
I'm in the
comments.
comments.
Oh Lord,
All right.
somebody's sensitive.
So basically it's talking to young men and showing them that they are important and letting them feel as if since you feel that way, and when you become to feel important, you tend to want to take care of what belongs to you, which is your wife and your child, right?
Mhm.
Or your wife and your children, because that's important next. So being able to be a man, mentoring, teaching, guiding our young, right? Whether he belongs to you or not, right? Whether he's just the kid standing on the corner that might need a little bit of guidance. That's what we need to do as men. Talk to other men, But that's where I stand on that. But I love this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
We all know that we like to kind of dish out the issues and then come to a solution. So I love that Jazz actually brought that topic of let's find a solution to the problem. Shout out to Jazz for being new to the panel and being able to get what we got working. Shout out to my man Matt is in the building, brand new for the first time. So we doing it big. The idea is to not only grow these panels, but each one teach one. And as we move forward in life, at least the majority of people that watch this show can say I learned something from it. And on top of that, I want y'all to stay tuned for Me to Marry season 2. We are aiming to drop the first episode on Saturday. And if you are a channel member and you are paying for a membership, you'll be able to actually get early access to the show on Friday, 1 p.m. So stay tuned. Me to Marry season 2 underway. We got a lot of we got some real good episodes. That's all I can say. We got some really dope episodes, and I'm getting ready to cook. We are getting ready to throw it down. It is not meat to marry, right?
So actually, guys,
I got a hoodie that say different.
Oh my God. It's meat to marry, right? Right. So
I can't wait to react to this new season, man.
Come on now, let's do it, Professor.
We got some leather lace fronts and lies.
Hey, Mink, listen. I said I was gonna react to the new season 2, but I'm gonna send you what I put out before I drop it and make sure it's kosher.
Of course.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what I reacted to offline, Kit, and understand. I'm gonna tell you that they paid me $12,500 not to put it out.
Close your mouth, Jazz.
So
I just want to say, guys, next week, 2 monumental things. We are on episode 50 for Grown Men Talking.
So Kit, you're not gonna be here. You're not gonna be here with your bull crap next week.
Episode 50 in the building.
Also,
I love it.
I'm 6% less valuable next week. Okay, so next Sunday, this beautiful
you're a net negative.
He said every year you go down 6%. I'm just saying, I'm going down another 6% on this Sunday coming up. I will be this beautiful face will be the amazing 44. So definitely, I just want to make sure.
With your old ass.
Come with your gifts.
Watch your mouth.
Come with your gifts. Look, I like dips on my chips. Okay, come with your gifts. Come with your extras, because I'm gonna actually pop in because it is my birthday. So yeah.
So hold up, you gonna be on the panel for your birthday?
For a little bit before I go, I gotta make something.
She gonna be on here till the internet go out.
Hey, I'm gonna show you some love live on the stream, Kid. If you come on for your birthday,
I'm gonna be on for my birthday. Look, Kit will be 40%. I hate skinny. Someone take skinny. Someone take skinny. Someone take skinny.
What should he say?
Yeah, that is.
She gonna be 44. She about to be in the in the Goodwill rack.
You better be glad I love you. I swear to God. Because you are so diabolical, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all the shenanigans, so I love it. But no, I'm super excited because I feel like episode 50, that's like a monumental space. Then celebrate my birthday, that's always lit. So I'm looking forward to it. Hanging out with you guys for a couple hours. But like I said, it's my birthday, so I got to go do something. But before, I'm gonna come and be pretty on the campus. But yeah.
Well, shout out to you for your birthday. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Also, our 50th episode of Open Conversation on Sundays. Stay tuned. We got a lot going on over here on Grown Men Talking. We are growing as well. So thank you to Jazz for coming through. Thank you to Matt for coming through. And I hope we see y'all more, because these conversations hold up. You was yo, I can hear you breathing. That's how
Keep
strong
y'all
your
asses
mic
where
is.
y'all at.
Yo,
That was just breathing.
that was yo, he just took a deep breath and you heard the whole thing. But so check it. I want to thank both of y'all for coming on today, and I hope that we are able to have y'all here more as we grow this channel, as we do more, as we say, we become a family over here. We joke, we cut up backstage. It's fun. So with that being said, y'all, do me a favor, Jazz and Matthew, hang in there for a little bit so we can chop it up backstage, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace. Ice Kendrick, hold up. What the hell? Why was Kendra G up there?
Hey, take this
That's
was
reminding you.
Get your shit together, G&G.
For as long as